welcome to today's show. We have some great news for you. What is the latest here? The House passed a major expansion of labor rights, but no surprise, in the filibuster Senate, it faces a steep climb to approve it. Take a look at the bill, why it's so important, and why it's been quite surprising to see some members of the House take pretty strong union stances, pro-union stances as of late. The White House also said that Biden's name won't appear on future stimulus checks and other news. Also, take a little great piece about why the British monarchy should be abolished and really why monarchies in general are a bad concept in relation to the whole Harry and Meghan interview. Also, the British media having a meltdown. Piers Morgan exposed as somebody who tried to kiss up to Meghan Markle, but Meghan Markle cut him off and he didn't like it. And that massive meltdown here today, we will play and react for you on the show. Meanwhile, the entire staff of the United Democratic Party quit after the Democratic Socialist slate won every seat. And we will top it off with a great video that Zach has promised me is very, very good. About, what is it? It was something from Turning Point USA.
The Equality Act.
The Equality Act.
From Turning Point USA.
From Turning Point USA. We're going to break it down for you. We're going to brush through all these topics and have another great show for today. And of course, yes, as you know, Zach and Eli are back with us. Thank you guys so much once again for joining us.
Yeah. What's up? Yeah. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. We're starting with some pretty cool and good news right now. A bill that was already passed in 2019.
Cool and good news.
Cool and good, folks. The House on Tuesday, they approved the most significant expansion of labor rights since the New Deal, which pretty much shows you how much, literally, we had the New Deal in terms of, making a building labor power from the government. It was the New Deal. It was, a little bit of it was, some of it came back in the 1960s with the Great Society programs, but it was pretty much all downhill from the New Deal as far as labor has been concerned, and this is going to be such a significant thing, really, because it's the only effort that people have made in a long time to really expand unions. So this is advancing a bill that would neutralize right-to-work laws in 27 states and bolster workers' ability to unionize after years of eroding clout. The bill is called the Protect the Right to Organize Act and would amend a decades-old labor law to protect workers from seeking to form a union from retribution or firing, strengthening the government's power to punish employees who violate workers' rights and outlaw mandatory meetings that employers often rely on to quash the organizing drive, exactly what we are seeing on in Amazon. So pretty much taking away some of the key tactics that have made bosses so effective as of late of stopping unions to organize. It's very, very hard to form a union here in the United States, and actually makes the government powerful enough to punish these companies. So right now it passed the House, I believe, with 5 Republicans actually joining Democrats in support here. It also was very important. It would make it harder for companies like Uber and Lyft to classify workers as independent contractors, paving the way for a potentially dramatic expansion of the pool of workers eligible to unionize. So that was a big thing that they were really trying to push through with Prop 22 in a Democratic state like California. They were very, very successful with that. But if this bill passes, it'll be a huge bulwark for all that. Guys, let's start with Zach here. What do you think of the concept? And of course, you can just jump right in of this bill in going through the House in the first place.
Good. Anything that expands union rights in my eyes is a win, if that's actually what it does.
I'm definitely pro-union. I support workers' rights to organize, just like I support anyone else's rights to organize. So protecting those fundamental rights should be protected, if that's what the bill does.
If you can get 5 Republicans, that must be something pretty good.
Yeah,
that's
in the House.
That's unheard of nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah,
5 Republicans in the House. That's a unanimous vote in the 80s.
Yeah, that's a very, very significant thing. Just judging on how just polarized and partisan everything is these days. The measure is all about to run into a brick wall of opposition in the Senate, where 60 votes would be needed to advance the filibuster, and Republicans are badly opposed. it passed the House 225 to 206 with 5 Republicans joining the Democrats in favor. So pretty much what this is going to have to do is like they're going to really do some political work to pass this bill, and this is a priority. Like this is going to be such a small step in the right direction after like years of just erosion of union power, but it is going to require a bit of political maneuvering to do. I mean, with a bit, which is just like getting rid of the filibuster and getting this bill through, because it's never really going to get 60 votes. But do you think that, do you guys think that the Democratic Party and Joe Biden will use this political power, whatever political power they have, to get this through?
Well, if they have 5 Republicans in the House, well, how many in the Senate are in favor?
According to the New York Times, they say Senate chances are slim. So
yeah, pretty much because it needs 60 votes to advance past the filibuster, and Republicans are going to be broadly opposed. But I don't know if there's any Democrats have been. Of course, you have this bill as being a radical, backward-looking legislation which will diminish the rights of workers and employees while harming the economy and providing a political gift to labor unions and their special interests, says Virginia Fox with 2 X's, a Republican in North Carolina during the House debates. So yeah, that's pretty much kind of the strategy the Republicans are dealing with now. It just does not seem like it is going to be very politically popular, but it's still, with the fact that the real special interests that actually control things are solidly anti-union, it is still going to have a lot of purchase, I would say.
I agree.
And I mean, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what is the bill where Biden, what is the time where Biden puts up a fight? I really don't see this as being it. I can see him being paying exactly the minimum wage. Oh well, we tried.
Yeah. Well, I don't
always pass them a minimum wage in a separate law. They didn't have to force it through the stimulus.
Well, they effectively did.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're going to get rid of the filibuster, which they still would have to do if they want to get anything done. And I feel like them just if they pass the filibuster, once they do the first part, they'll just be too tired to be like, oh yeah, well now we have to go past the PRO Act again. But it seems like it's going to be a clearly failed thing in the Senate. But it's going to be interesting to see how far Biden goes on this. It's going to have to come, I think, eliminating the filibuster at some point. But I don't know. We're going to also take a look at this one. This is an interesting story. The Defense Secretary approves keeping 2,200 guards at the Capitol through late May. National Guard troops here they're talking about through late May. Again, continuing the plan that began on the January 6th assault on the Capitol by supporters of former President Donald Trump. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said the Guard troops would remain on Capitol Hill, approving a request from U.S. Capitol Police to extend the deployment that set to have expired on Friday. So yeah, what do you guys think of this? This seems like, what is the justification that could possibly make sense here?
I heard there's QAnon people who keep changing the date of they're gonna attack. I don't know. I honestly I feel I don't know. It doesn't seem necessary to me, but then again, it's I don't have all of the security information, so.
Yeah, I think that that's such a silly, non-smart, I guess, way to kind of process the information. Because why should we give these people the benefit of the doubt? I think it's a really bad place that we put ourselves in. Assuming that these people have something, they know something that we don't know, which they definitely do. But what are their motives? What are their motives? Are they to protect and serve the people? This, and I think one of the biggest things that have come out of this Capitol riot.
Probably. I don't know.
Was that the fact that we don't even talk about how easily this would have been prevented by the fact that if we just had normal levels of police or appropriate levels of police outside. The National Guard wouldn't have been necessary if there had been a proper protective perimeter there in the first place. But instead, we have a lot of very powerful interests like kind of coming together to say like this is like a terrorist attack, this is a new 9/11, and it pretty much leads to a very bad culture and road to go down.
I would call the riots a new 9/11.
I heard people are saying that, but that's insane.
Yeah, trying to make it in terms of like conceptually. Like this is a great excuse to like open up a new war, like a new front of kind of like surveillance capabilities, and pretty much do it to crazy.
If Congress uses this as an excuse to increase spying, I never forgive them. I mean, I already hate them, but like that would be
how much more spying could they possibly do? What I take that
Yeah. Don't provoke them.
I mean, yeah, it's already pretty bad. At least we're not like China, but
yeah. So Yolanda Pittman formally asked the Defense Department, Assistant Acting Chief of the Capitol Police, to keep thousands of National Guard troops. She cited a 93% increase in threats against lawmakers during January and February compared to the same period last year as part of the reason for requesting the extension. Like, shouldn't the Capitol Police be able to do the job? Like, are they not? Are they that like poorly equipped that they can't provide basic security to the members of Congress? Like, it shouldn't be.
I guess so.
Like, but I don't know. Like, what is the alternative?
I think if the answer to that is yes, which it seems like it could be, since the whole January 6th thing, then like what are they doing to reform it? And I don't know if they are. Are they doing anything?
I think they're looking for a new police chief. Does that count?
Yeah, they're definitely looking for a new police chief. Because they've got acting one in there now. But, like, what is the thing that... What I can't put together is, like, what is the point of the thing to be gained by just having these troops hang around longer? Like, it sucks for them, sure, but, like, are you going to pass a new law out of it? I don't know. I mean, what are they doing by having these people around? I just feel like... But it generally, it just sets a very bad precedent, creates a bad culture, around this issue that can only lead to, like, it's not the direction that we want to go in, I guess.
Do you think it could lead to more violence? Is that what you're...
No, I'm saying, like... Well, I'm just kind of saying, like, it can lead to more, like, increasing the severity.
I don't think anyone wants, like, the nation's capital be under control of the military, like, 100% of the time, but...
I don't think the National Guard's really the military. Like, it's a step down.
Right. But, I mean, it really hasn't... It's just now. 3 days ago was 2 months ago. So, I think... I mean, if that statistic, the 90% thing, is really true, that seems plenty of reason enough to have a few more National Guards around, at least until Biden's presidency is really settled in. I mean, that doesn't seem too unreasonable to me.
Is he not already settled in?
I don't know. I mean...
Yeah, I've been for 2 months.
I think it's very easy. He just needs to settle in for a few more months and then just keep kicking the ball down the road.
100 days, maybe, I would consider. I mean, not even 2 months.
That would be to, like, April, I think, 100 days? In 2 years of presidency.
It's still an extremely fresh presidency.
It feels like he's done a lot, though.
I'm making this off the top of my head, but, I mean, I feel like he's probably appointed freaking more cabinet positions already than, like, Trump has ever.
Yeah, because, he really didn't leave a lot of people. He, like, left a lot of stuff open.
Trump didn't do, like, anything in terms of cabinet appointments, except for, like, literally just installing lobbyists.
I mean, that's, like, he filled the posts, but just literally with people who are, like, designed to destroy, like, for example, like the EPA, like Scott Pruitt, and putting, like, Rick Perry in the Department of Energy originally, even though, like, he said he forgot that he would say that he would wanted to get rid of the Department of Energy. Like, that was kind of what Trump did. Another kind of interesting little tidbit is the White House says that Biden's name won't appear on future stimulus checks. The New York Times reporting here, all reporting by the way so far has been from the New York Times. The next round of stimulus checks that Congress is expected to approve this week will not include President Biden's name, a White House official said on Tuesday.
Like on the bill?
Yeah, so this decision again breaks with the practice of his predecessor, Donald Trump, who sought to take credit for the payments by personally branding them. Like, honestly, like, why not?
What does the bill say from Trump?
Yeah, the bill says, like, the stimulus check says, from Donald Trump.
Is that a joke?
No, it really
They
does.
actually said that?
Yeah, it does. It says, like, I don't know the exact, like...
That is so cringe. Why did it ever say that in the first place?
Because he wants you to know who's sending you the money. Like,
no, the federal government is sending the money, not Trump.
But politically, though, it makes a lot of sense to like say, yeah, here we are, we're giving you the checks. Like, don't forget it. You know?
Nah, that's messed up. I think you should just say from the government.
It's a perfectly like it should. But
that's a stupid level of parse. Okay, really? What if it said like from the Democrats? Come on.
If you're the Democratic Party, you're in the party of power, and you want to be the people like giving.
This shit's like mob rule garbage. That is a ridiculous level of partisanship. How could you possibly agree with that?
I would get your point. I would get your point if a single Republican like voted for the bill at any point or any time. Like, it really is from the Democrats. Like, no Republican played a role in like getting this bill passed. So
yeah, well, I don't mind saying that like on Twitter or whatever, but putting it on a bill, like a literal check that you send out to the American people, I
would give you that. It's very tacky, and like it's very weird. I guess it's like it's uncouth. But if you're like if Trump did it, like it. I question.
Someone didn't. Don't make this argument. Oh, Trump did it. It's another Democrat.
I will make the argument that it's the politically smart thing to do. Like,
why?
Because it is. Like, you're telling me
it's politically smart doesn't mean it's morally right.
The politically smart thing to do is also like.
The morally wrong thing is not giving people the checks in the first place. Like, if you're giving them the checks, like, who cares what name is written on them? It doesn't make them worthless.
First of all, just so we're clear, the politically smart decision in like Russia is to murder all your political opponents and put them in jail.
There's a big difference between that and like putting your name on the checks.
But I'm saying you said it's the politically smart thing to do is not always the thing that you should be doing.
Yeah, obviously.
First of all, how would you like if the Republicans did that? That would be freaking disrespectful as hell.
Oftentimes, like, even in normal, like, the politically smart thing, like, you're gonna, if you do something immoral, you're gonna pay the price for it anyway. It's like,
it just sends the message that, like,
but I don't think that's immoral, though.
No, it just sends the message that, like, I don't like the image that sends, because I feel like it's saying, like, a group is in control of the government, not, like, the government.
But it would be Joe Biden, like, putting his name personally, like, as the president.
I still think that's weird, and also it's not him sending the bill; it's the government. It's our money.
Yeah. It's technically actions, and we get a little bit of it back.
Yeah, that's technically right, but it would be. If you want to brand yourself as the party that gives money to people, technically this would be a bad idea because you're literally giving people less money.
It's not their money. But, that's my point. It's not their money to give. It is their money to give away, but it's not their money.
Yeah, you pay the money.
They're printing the money, so
yeah.
That's a whole different thing. My point is like, it's not. It's from Donald Trump as if like, I don't know.
It's also, most people aren't even going to be getting the checks, it's just going to be direct deposit into their bank accounts. So it's not even that big of a deal.
Yeah, it really isn't. Alright, let's move on.
So it's like the memo line? Whatever. Yeah,
I think that's why yeah.
That's so cringe.
Let's say probably normally from the IRS. I don't know.
No, that's a collection.
But that's how they put it out.
When you get the direct deposit, it says it's from the IRS.
Really?
Because they have everyone's information.
Then everybody's bank account.
Alright, continue, Oshi.
Alright, we have a pretty fun clip here for everybody today. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear this, but this is Piers Morgan. I already watched it. Yeah, I know you've already seen this. I actually, yeah, if you've already seen this, then yeah, I can just play it normally over the podcast here. But yeah, pretty much what happened is in the wake of the Meghan Markle Prince Harry interview, Piers Morgan was on his program. This is again, I believe, what now for the. I'm getting all time warped here. This is the second day that they had to react to this, and they were still going on about it. It really has dominated the headlines, especially in Britain. And I'm going to go to another great piece from Hamilton Nolan in the New York Times about this. He's a great writer talking about why just the monarchy is bad in the first place. But we still just have to react to this wonderful clip of Piers Morgan getting called out for his pretty obscene coverage, which include pretty much saying that when Meghan Markle said that the royal life drove her to suicide, Piers Morgan responded by saying, I wouldn't believe her if she told me the weather. She's lost all credibility to me. Like, just awful kind of guy. 100%. So yeah, here he is kind of getting called out for that on today's show.
Amount of negative press. I watched the program yesterday, and yes, they had some great press around the wedding, but what press is going to trash someone's special day? There was bad press around the engagement, before the engagement. Since has been incredibly damaging, quite clearly, to Meghan's mental health and also to Harry. And William has gone through the same thing. But do you know what? Siblings experience tragedy in their life, and one will be absolutely fine and brush it off, and the other will not be able to deal with it so strongly. And that's clearly what has happened with Prince Harry in this situation. He walked behind his mother's coffin at a tender age in front of the globe. That is going to shape a young boy for the rest of his life. So I think that we need to all take a step back. And I understand that you don't like Meghan Markle. You've made it so clear a number of times on this program. A number of times, and I understand that you've got a personal relationship with Meghan Markle, or had one, and she cut you off. She's entitled to cut you off if she wants to. Has she said anything about you since she cut you off? I don't think she has, but yet you continue to trash her.
Okay, I'm done with this.
No, sorry. No, sorry. Do you know what?
Here's a leaving the set there.
I'm being... Sorry, absolutely diabolical behaviour. I'm sorry, but Piers spouts off on a regular basis, and we all have to sit there and listen. 6:30 to 7 o'clock yesterday was incredibly hard to watch. Incredibly hard to watch.
So yeah, that is Alex Beresford, who's the regular man on that show, pretty much coming out and telling Piers Morgan what for making him leave the set and pretty much leave the show. He decided to, apparently, I don't know, it's kind of unclear whether he quit or he actually quit, but he is off of Good Morning Britain, an incredible flame out over the past few days, and leading up to that on Twitter, just, absolutely melting down over Harry and
of biblical proportions.
Yeah, this is like all the jokes you can make about someone like having a normal one, or being mad online, or like needing to log off, or just needing to chill. That is
actually such a cringe lord.
Really something. So, so that is like the fact that he said some of the things about like the suicide, the suicide claims, just completely disturbing stuff to see. And really, right at the same time, that like British network was doing a whole thing about like Mental Health Week and how we got to raise awareness for mental health, and it was just like, just complete and total mess. So what was your reaction on the whole situation? Zach?
I mean, when I first saw it this morning, I thought the weatherman was saying some pretty reasonable stuff, and then Pierce just, out of nowhere starts throwing his fit and crying because, God forbid, like, somebody call racism I don't understand his deal, and I don't. How does he get so upset that he has to walk off the set?
Yeah, literally walk off the show. Like he didn't. He's not going to be back.
Serious.
Yeah, like
I have to find something else to do.
Yeah, he has another column, no surprise, in the Daily Mail. So, like, he'll be back. And you know, a big thing that he always knows, like, he knows what to do is like how to get ratings and how to get attention for himself. And yeah, he has been no stranger to that. I mean, it's kind of surprising that they would have fired him because, like, that's what he's paid to draw the attention. He's paid to say the controversial things so that the co-host beside him can be like, oh, no, come on. But it really has been incredible how insane, like, the British media has been to criticize Meghan Markle. Even more than they were ever for Jeremy Corbyn. Got 25 negative pages in the Daily Mail, Meghan Markle did, where Corbyn only got 13, about how he was literally like ISIS and Hitler all rolled into one. But he was, yeah, like that was a really kind of incredible comparison from the threats of like, oh, remember, don't make the same mistake your mother did, Prince Harry. You're gonna regret it just like she did. Like that was just some remarkable stuff. Like you would play the wink gif there that's been going on. Is that from WandaVision?
Huh?
The exaggerated wink, the lady doing the exaggerated wink.
I think so.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch.
No, this is talking about Agatha.
Oh, just kidding.
You know how she like winks when she like does her magic?
And she like does this like
what a loser.
wink.
I know, so
yeah, I heard this from WandaVision. I don't watch it either, so you're good.
I guess I'm
loser.
Yeah, don't get bad.
Falcon and the Soldier next week, so
I thought the show was like done already.
No, Falcon and the Soldier is the next show.
Oh, there's another show already?
Yeah, Disney would be like rolling out these shows.
Still the same characters, that like I don't know, that's like really new one, but
Disney Plus has 100 million subscribers now.
They got 100 million subscribers in like less than 2 years.
Pretty impressive.
100 million subscribers. What is a Disney Plus subscription?
It's $7 a month.
Right.
I pay for it, so I don't know.
And here's a little clip. Here's a great clip from a little bit about maybe why Piers Morgan did not get on so well with Meghan Markle, and kind of a great testament to what Prince Harry was saying about like this kind of pay-to-play relationship that the British press has with the monarchy, and also with politicians there as well.
Martinis and a couple of pints, we got on brilliantly. And then I put her in a cab, and it turned out to be a cab that took her to a party where she met Prince Harry. And then the next night they had a solo dinner together, and that was the last I ever heard from Meghan Markle. I have never heard from her again.
So what happened?
She ghosted me, Ryan. Meghan Markle ghosted me.
Did she? Do you think she just went?
I'm afraid, I really liked it. This is why it hurts. No, teenies and a couple of pints.
Yeah, he's literally talking about how, we met once and then she never talked to me again. I thought we were going to get invited to a wedding. Like, he literally said, I put her in a cab that went to the party where she ended up meeting Prince Harry, and I never saw her again. Like, he was supposed to claim responsibility, and really just the wonderful line at the end that was like, it kind of hurt me. No, it didn't really, but unless, like, that kind of, like, perfectly, like, oh, I'm not that mad, but I really am. It's like, it's just really just a complete influence peddling. Thank God we don't have anything like that here. Our media culture, so great, so perfect in every way. But yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, I mean, there's no corruption in our media. There's no
Fox News, Newsmax, OAN,
basically every single news company.
There's no like blatant political operatives that get hired to host Sunday shows. George Stephanopoulos.
How is he a political operative?
He literally used to work in the Bill Clinton White House as like their speechwriter or something.
So it doesn't make him a political operative.
He really was a political operative. Yeah, so we had to take a little bit of a pause there to a technical mistake on my end, but yeah, we were just citing, of course, the wonderful examples, of course, the Cuomos, Chris Cuomo and Andrew Cuomo in our media, talking about how, they are a picture-perfect example of how corrupt and kind of self-dealing our media is. But normally it's not really that. Like, I mean, that's not true. There are like people who, like, the political operative is married to someone in, like, high up in the media. But yeah. Anyway, we are going to now move on to another very interesting story. This is a courtesy of Ryan Grimm and Akilah Lacey in The Intercept, talking about how the entire staff of the Nevada Democratic Party quit after the Democratic Socialist slate won every seat. So Judith Whitmer won her election on Saturday to become the Nevada Democratic Party chair, and right after she got an email from the party's executive director, Elena Mounts. The message from Mounts began with a note of congratulations before pretty much getting straight to the point, saying, quote, "She was quitting, and so was every other employee, and so were all their consultants, and the staff would be taking the severance checks with them. Thank you very much." So pretty much why this would happen was on March 6th, a coalition of progressive candidates backed by the local chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America took over the leadership of the Nevada Democratic Party, sweeping all 5 leadership positions in a contested election that evening. Whitmer, who had been the chair of the Clark County Democratic Party, was elected chair of the whole Democratic Party for Nevada. The establishment had prepared for the loss and had recently decided to move $450,000 out of the party's coffers and into the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, which will pretty much put a lot of money into the campaign coffers of Catherine Cortez Masto, who is up for re-election as a vulnerable first-term Democrat this cycle. So yeah, it is a very, very kind of tough situation there for them to deal with. A very kind of like perfect example of how a lot of these people are associated with Harry Reid, who's pretty much the king of the Nevada Democratic Party, and to give him credit, really turned a lot of stuff around in that state, from having it like changing the governor's mansion from red to blue, and changing the Senate seats there from red to blue, and really doing quite a good job organization-wise. But the who did a better job? It was the Bernie Sanders campaign in 2016, and especially in 2020 with their performance in the Nevada caucuses, who pretty much out-organized the Progressive Unity ticket, which, by the way, immediately quit the party afterwards and had a big fit, as, again, the Progressive Unity group. And, I mean, again, by all accounts, these people, like Judith Whitmer, they're not, like, looking to burn every Democratic operative's head to the stakes. Like, they want to work with people. They don't want to primary Catherine Cortez Masto. Like, they're not trying to really make a lot of trouble. But, I mean, this really shows it is a very, very positive result, but it really should be also, I think, a lesson as to what happens when you try and like really come after the Democratic or Republican Party duopolies in terms of really threatening their power base. Yeah. So, what are your guys' reactions to this story?
This is the resigning of the.
Oh wait, we do have. Hold on, Zach. There, stop for just a quick second. I pressed something and unfortunately the audio has messed up once again. We're just gonna change that real quick, and we're good. All right. Zach, continue with what you're saying there.
You said an anti-Semitic slur on a live stream.
What was your reaction there to
Yikes.
What was your reaction there, Zach, to what you were saying before we had the audio issue?
Yeah, I cannot believe you said kike. That's crazy. Holy shit.
Easy money.
Okay, wait.
All right, we're back. Just with a simple reboot, fixed our audio problems here as we continue. Anyway, yeah. So, in case you were wondering what we kind of like butted in on Zach talking about there, because it picked up you, Zach. It picked up you saying. Like something about like an anti-Semitic slur, because you were talking about the Myers-Leonard situation, which is another situation in itself. But what I was asking you about previously was because of your reaction to the Nevada Democratic State Party story.
Okay. I don't know why they resign. I don't know why they won't just work with them, but
it's really telling. Like, if you have any kind of like Bernie Sanders candidate, which I kind of love that you were like discovering the Bernie Sanders debates from like 2016 or the Hillary debates of 2016, and how like people like he really got her good on some of those, but it wasn't nearly as bad as Obama. Obama destroyed her in 2008. It was bad, but it like this. Do you like, as a kind of like libertarian, Eli, do you have any like aspirations on trying to like take over your own kind of party that's closer to you, the Republican Party?
I don't know if takeover is the right word to use. I would push for electing candidates that align with my belief.
this is what this was.
Yeah,
I don't
much.
think taking over a party is the right way to phrase it. I'm just because with the Democratic Socialists, they're like kind of reshaping the Democratic Party. I don't think reshaping the Republican Party is even worth it at this point.
Like, what kind of people would you like to see like go? And what do you think of also, by the way, like the Democratic, like what people like Justice Democrats, like people like Cory Bush and AOC and Jamal Bowman, and like what people here like the DSA are trying to do? Do you think that's a good strategy for like making change in just kind of like a establishment versus kind of
The
like
last part
outsider?
cut out.
Do you think the strategy is good with what the DSA is doing there?
I mean, it's working somewhat. I mean,
to a certain extent, yeah.
It hasn't. To a certain extent, it's working. To a certain extent, I don't think a lot of Democrats like them that much. But I guess, I mean, they got to keep working if they want to win more seats.
Yeah, I mean, with the Democratic Party certainly, but it is more. It's definitely easier on the ground. Like, do you worry about like? Do you think that the Republican Party, like, what kind of movement? Just out of curiosity, like, what kind of movement do you want to see, like, in the Republican Party? Like, what kind of candidates are you looking for if you were to kind of like do a kind of takeover of the Democratic Party or Republican Party? What kind of candidates would you like to see?
Candidates that don't infringe on our rights while we're pretending they're protecting them.
Like, do you have any like specific, like, if you were to pick like a politician,
like a specific person?
Yeah.
I mean, there's like Justin Amash, but like he I don't think he ran for re-election. So
yeah, because he was anti-Trump.
He was like
that was it for him.
He was anti-Trump and he left the party. He left the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Now he's in the Libertarian Party.
And then I think he tried to run for president, but then he didn't.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't have been that bad but he doesn't have the Trump flair.
Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson's probably the most electable libertarian there is, even if he's not.
He was the governor, so
he was. Yeah, I think he was the governor.
How is he not libertarian? Right? He's pretty libertarian
because he requires a driver's license to drive your car.
That's not. That's not why.
I was going to make that. I was going to make that.
You teed me up for that.
But I was like. I was gonna make the joke, but I wanted to give Eli the benefit of the doubt. So how is he not?
Like, I wouldn't say he's as extreme as like a Spike Cohen or like a Joe Jorgensen. Like, those are pretty extreme candidates.
Said we should get rid of like all like the federal agencies.
I mean, I don't know if me personally I would go that far, but a lot of federal agencies can go.
Really?
Like ICE and the DHS, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. ICE doesn't need to exist. Department of Homeland Security probably doesn't need to
CIA
exist.
Like what?
CIA?
The CIA does need to exist. Don't be an idiot, Wally.
I mean, spies are pretty cool, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, yeah, starting dirty wars in Latin America. I mean,
I agree 100%. I mean,
okay, yeah, the CIA does do some messed up stuff, but
they're literally organized crime for the ruling class. Like, that's the best way of thinking about it.
Yeah, but we still need them.
The CIA has done a lot of
security
to maintain our like position.
We have a military. We have a military.
We can't be the only country that spies while she like.
Yeah, but there's a difference between having spies and having the CIA. Like,
no, there.
And do you think like freaking? I don't know. I mean, England has some spies, I guess, but
MI6? Are you an idiot?
Yeah, but there's MI6 and then there's like the CIA like follows what MI6 does. Like if you look at any like history of any operation.
Wait, you mean the reverse?
I mean, they're both.
Yeah, MI6 follows the CIA's lead is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's important to have intelligence, especially if foreign enemies are gonna do it. You might as well have some defense. At least.
I mean, yeah, maybe you can have some. It would be nice to have like a functioning foreign intelligence service that can like actually stop things like coming down the line.
I just got some news. The CIA has put down Major Biden.
he's been deported. Major Biden's been deported into one of the child relocation centers to play with the kids.
Fighting the insurrection against the White House.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Deporting, that's really low class by Joe. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, returning back to like the original point, like a lot of these bureaucracies are really inefficient and like they cause actually a lot of harm, and a lot of them need to go. Like I don't think I would kick out NASA. That's like a national pride thing. Even if they're not like as efficient as like a SpaceX, I think they should probably.
They are as efficient as SpaceX.
They are not as efficient as SpaceX. What are you talking about?
SpaceX literally steals from NASA and they just feed off government contracts.
And does Tesla's in large part similar.
SpaceX gets their money from government contracts, but they're actually innovating. NASA hasn't launched a rocket in at least they haven't launched humans into space in more than 10 years.
Yeah, but like they're perfectly capable of doing it. Like if they're just
they don't even have a rocket to do it.
It's not the focus of the government.
They have no capabilities to launch humans into space. They have no rocket.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like the government controls.
I know, and that's why it's inefficient because they're tied down by the current administration, while SpaceX isn't. SpaceX can invest the money that it wants.
That's by design, and it's in a non-critical industry. Like
if
the NASA can be,
money,
NASA could be pretty damn efficient when it wants to be.
Pretty much all of the like.
Well, there's also duplication. Like within NASA, there's multiple like sections of NASA doing the same thing and competing. And if the one part gets delayed,
competition was good.
Yeah, what about that? Like I think, if you ask like what. Like John, during the '60s, like they went to the moon in 10 years, like inside the decade.
Less than that, I think.
Yeah,
I think you misinterpreted what I said. If you have multiple departments trying to do the same thing and competing each other within a bureaucracy, it's very inefficient.
Is that actually true?
Are you speaking with like just in general, or not?
Just in general, yeah. Just in general.
Oh, okay.
I think there's definitely like a lot of ways. For example, in like the Pentagon, like there's so much money that literally no one knows where it is. It just is. It's like
they lose $1 billion.
Yeah, like that is a prime example of government waste. That
who knows how they lose it,
and you don't see that in private companies.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
you're not seeing $1 billion disappear in SpaceX. They need that money to.
Yeah, but that's not what's happening. That's literally the Pentagon.
The money doesn't disappear; it just goes to the CEOs and private companies. Like that's what happens. Like
no, but
in the Pentagon, it just disappears to like fund like CIA covert operations or something.
Where did $1 billion disappear from SpaceX? What?
The $1 billion? It's not that. It's because it doesn't actually disappear. You're just convinced that it should be there in the first place when it shouldn't be.
What do you mean?
In space? Wait, what? I'm confused.
Because you're thinking about it in the wrong way. You're not thinking about where does $1 billion. You're looking for $1 billion to disappear. It doesn't disappear. It gets taken away from other people by not paying them
put into a rocket. That's where it goes. SpaceX doesn't waste money.
In some people's that's up for interpretation there, but. Yeah, like it is. I mean, like, why would
SpaceX is a? Do you think SpaceX is a poorly run business?
It is true that private companies have no incentive to quote unquote make money disappear.
On Twitter,
but
a bunch of lefties on Twitter like schooled me on this, but then I deleted the tweet, and now I'm forgetting all the good arguments that they made.
Now you're so ashamed you have to delete the tweet.
Yeah, well, I delete everything I tweet after like a day.
That's very smart.
I mean, the innovation that SpaceX has done in just the past 10 years is unbelievable.
What about all the innovation that the government has done, though? the internet, GPS.
I'm talking. Yeah, the government can innovate too, but I'm talking about SpaceX right now, comparing it to NASA. And yeah, NASA has innovated. They have some rovers on Mars. That's pretty damn cool. They should keep doing that.
Yeah, and then you get to
But
the
SpaceX
then you get to the magic
pioneered new rocket
public-private
technology.
partnership territory.
I don't know enough about this topic.
Anyway, it
SpaceX
is
pioneered private
just
space.
about the perfect time for Zach to present to us today the video that he wants to show.
Oh, baby. Oh, you guys are in for a treat. So there's this super... It's a joke because she's a giant. Let me pull up the video. I believe her name is Alex Clark.
Yeah, and by the way, just before we get into this, try limit the kind of gender specific insults here. Would be very good.
Wait, what gender specific insults did I say? I wasn't even paying attention.
Oh no, even if you make any, just as a frontal warning, a preemptive warning.
Oh, I wasn't gonna make any.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I'll make sure not to make any.
Are we gonna get DMCA'd?
No, just for the future. You never know. Just to be don't fall into the trap. Don't get canceled.
I don't want to get canceled. I want to stay not canceled.
Yeah, not that you would say, of course, anything insulting. Just as
I don't even know what you're talking about.
A preemptive thing.
I feel like you just said don't say the N word, and I'm like, what are you talking? Wait, I
yeah,
don't
that
know what you mean.
considering, yeah.
That was okay.
All right.
I'm confused. Whatever. Let's start this super fun video.
Doing it for the gays. That's why I got my rainbow on. Have you heard of the Equality Act? It seems like everyone is talking about it again now Biden is in office. Remember when Taylor Swift pushed for it at the VMAs? The Equality Act sounds great. I mean, it's literally called the Equality Act, right? What's wrong with people being treated equally and fairly under the law? Well,
yeah, of course.
I think it's very interesting, how they're trying to brand, outbrand and expand to teenage infographic girls to go.
No, they're trying.
Here's why you shouldn't have civil rights. It looks great, but T Swizzle says it, and
they're trying to reach the youth. Didn't you hear the congresswoman speak? She's like they're trying to emulate Hitler.
Everybody's trying to reach the youth.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hitler got one thing right. You got to get them when they're young.
I mean, everybody's trying to reach the youth, so that's not a valid.
Yeah, but nobody.
Yeah, but few people have ways of putting it like that.
My criticism isn't they're trying to reach the youth; it's that they're saying that they're trying to emulate Hitler.
MLK's, we need to go MLK's student movement. No, Hitler youth.
No,
that's what
Hitler youth.
Oh my gosh!
They've got to find ways to bring.
Play the video.
They've got to find ways to bring up Hitler.
They won't be, and there is a lot of hidden stuff in this legislation. Exactly.
The feature? There's not. I read the whole bill. There's not.
I'm Alex Clark, and this is Politics. A little quick politics.
This is so cringe.
Politics.
Well, I love how it says without the propaganda, but this is literally direct propaganda. This couldn't be more propaganda.
All right, so the Equality Act is a bill that President Biden and tons of your favorite celebrities support because they say it will end modern forms of discrimination against people of color, LGBTQ people, and all.
First of all, it doesn't have to do with racism at all. It has to do with gender, but go off, Queen.
Women. Women. That's a great place to start on pulling apart the devastating flaws of this legislation because this bill would actually hurt women most of all.
That
is not what I signed up for. One of the things the left...
Get ready for a lot of those. They love to throw in these little pop
Yeah, they
culture
always do
references.
that. They always do that. Ben Shapiro does it, but
Yeah,
he
Ben Shapiro does that.
He puts in references to old movies and stuff.
It's extremely cringy,
Also,
so just get used to it.
The Snapchat show Good Luck America
Yes.
also does it.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
I don't like Good Luck America.
Loves to do is use names and phrases no one would disagree with to promote things that everyone would disagree with.
Okay, no, it's everyone disagrees with this.
Is she
You
setting
do
up
not need to pause this every 2
Is she setting up
seconds.
a trans?
Let the video play.
Is she setting up a trans thing here?
She's setting up a transphobia, as one would say.
Can you just
They
let the video
knew what
play and
they
not pause every
actually
2
stood
seconds?
Yeah,
for.
sure.
And it's actually really smart. What's so bad about Black Lives Matter? I believe Black Lives Matter. Antifa, anti-fascist. I'm definitely not a fascist. Planned Parenthood sounds great and helpful. And an Equality Act sounds compassionate. I'm in. It really is that easy to dupe people.
It's not to like.
Because most people would not support Black Lives Matter Inc. if they knew they don't support fathers in the home and identify as Marxists, or that Antifa believes in creating total anarchy.
Love the
to take
fathers
down
in the
all
home line.
government, using
That's a real
extreme
retro
violence to get there.
throwback.
Planned Parenthood actually doesn't help you plan for anything. They only offer you a way out of parenthood through abortion. And the Equality Act would be
Yes,
one of
sir.
All right. So she just said a lot of stuff there. So let's break it down. First thing, she talked about Black Lives Matter. I have a PolitiFact article right here. Does Black Lives Matter aim to destroy the quote nuclear family? When she is saying that Black Lives Matter people don't want fathers in the home, the Black Lives Matter activists are just saying that the nuclear family is not a perfect system and that we need to do a better job raising children as like a community or whatever. So, it doesn't really matter what you think about that. The point is, no Black Lives Matter activists are saying, oh yeah, let's destroy fatherhood. Like, what a fucking dumb thing to say. Another thing she said, she talked about fucking what Antifa believes, which is like the dumbest thing ever. That's like saying like what like Americans believe. Antifa is not a freaking group. They don't have like a platform. It's a decentralized like group of. So no, it's not. Antifa doesn't have a fucking platform. So that's dumb. And obviously, the freaking Planned Parenthood thing is literally insane. You can take this literally from Planned Parenthood's website. Planned Parenthood provides STD testing and treatment, birth control, well woman exams, cancer screening, and prevention. They do provide abortions, obviously, but they also provide hormone therapy, infertility services, and general health care. So no, the only thing Planned Parenthood does is not fucking like give abortions and like prevent parenthood. So holy shit, this lady is incredibly dumb. Let's continue.
the greatest threats to women's rights in generations. The consequences of this horrendous bill cannot be stressed enough, and it's the feminists who should be the most pissed off because it will basically just flush decades of their activism down the toilet.
Holy
crap.
Women will no longer be able to have anything for just women. Locker rooms, sports, prisons.
That's a complete lie. Basically, she's just like doing like an extremely long version of trans women aren't women.
Yeah. You can kind of see that coming.
She's trying so hard. I mean, I'll let her continue and then just debunk everything she's saying.
Women's shelters will all be up for grabs for biological men
Not
as
true.
long as they just identify as women. The Equality
Oh,
Act
you
promises
put it in
it will
quotes. I
don't think
eliminate
people just
discrimination.
identify
What
as
it
the
actually
Yeah, it doesn't because it's not true. First of all, she has a complete misunderstanding of what the actual law is. If she read it for like 1 second, she would realize that none of the stuff she's saying is true. I mean, she's gonna make more ridiculous claims, so I'll get to it at the end.
actually does, though, is just create discrimination between one group against another, being LGBTQ people against women. Sex-based protections for women and girls are completely gone.
Not
Let me
true.
paint a broader picture for you. The Equality Act would make it illegal for an employer to tell a male employee he can't enter a lactation room for breastfeeding mothers. All he has to do is say he identifies as a woman, and legally he has to be allowed in.
Okay, first of all, that is literally the most. That is like actually the most lie of a sentence I've ever heard for in a million years. First of all, they're acting like men can just identify like as trans instantly, and then they just get access to these spaces. What these people don't seem to believe is like it's a law. It's not a fucking magical force field. If some guy is like he's just like, oh, I'm a girl and walks in, you can still prevent him from doing this and get sued just trying to creep on women. And the idea that trans people just like they're not even, it's actually so transphobic, it's insane. This situation does not exist. It's the same thing with voter ID. Like, oh, you disagree with voter ID? Like, it's not a problem in the first place, and it's literally just targeting a specific ethnic minority. It's so fucked up.
Same with little girls at daycare. Usually a female employee is assigned to take kids to the bathroom, but if a male employee says that he now identifies as a female, legally the daycare has to let him. Let's be clear. Most transgender adults would not do this. The point is, under a law like this, though, some bad people who aren't actually transgender would. The feminist movement has consistently talked about how
that is
there's
such a
no
bad.
evidence for that.
That is
There's
such a
no evidence.
that, and also the fact that like two bad people are going to get in the way of like people like identifying the gender. Like way more people identify the gender that they should and they want to be. Like it's just inherently like a ridiculous argument.
women. They're right. It's here and it's coming from the left.
What a plot twist!
Religious institutions would also be under attack
Kill me
because
now.
the Equality Act
That's right. Okay, first of all, let me just say something. So, she's saying like this dumb shit about that like gender only and sex only spaces can't exist anymore. That's freaking ridiculously untrue. Everybody, this is like literally you learn this in like if you ever taken a gov class. I'm sure people are familiar with Virginia versus United States, which is the Supreme Court case that decided the like the Virginia Men's Academy, freaking like the military academy. The Supreme Court has said that you cannot discriminate between men and women on the basis of sex unless there is, quote, exceedingly persuasive justification. So there is, you can create sex only safe spaces. You just need actual reasoning. And a reason to create that space would be a guy can't just change his gender and go into a fucking female bathroom. Obviously, but the reality that they're portraying that like people are going to abuse this is just not true. There's no evidence for that, and they're just creating reasons to discriminate against trans people. And just like they're trying to claim that the Democrats are like hiding their freaking methods under the quote Equality Act or whatever, they're just hiding their transphobia under the quote like protection of women or whatever. It's complete bullshit. And then let's get into this fucking religious thing, which is totally wrong, by the way.
exempts itself from the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. What does that mean? The feds could come after religious schools, adoption agencies, and other charities if they believe in two genders and just preach biblical teaching on sex and marriage.
Okay, that is 100% not true. Nothing in this law says that you can't, there's no free speech law in this at all. What the law is basically just in areas in the Civil Rights Act and other federal laws. You know how it says you can't be discriminated on race, sex, or race, sex, and something else. I'm forgetting. Whatever. Race, sex. All it does is add and gender identity. So it's just saying you cannot attack trans people. Literally, none of the things that she's describing will happen. I mean, why would you believe it? And what she's talking about is, in the bill, there's something that says that the act she's talking about, the Religious Rights Act, that cannot be used as a reason to justify discrimination. So basically, you can't not hire a trans woman and say, "Oh, my religion," which anybody with a brain would agree with, because obviously, what she is saying, there's literally no law against saying, "Oh, two genders," even though that, I mean, whatever, you have the right to say that. It just makes you transphobe for the most part, but whatever.
Marriage. The president of Ethics and Public Policy Center, Ryan Anderson, said the Equality Act would make someone like Pope Francis equivalent to a Jim Crow segregationist.
How? How is that possible?
Yeah, actually, how? She doesn't say his reasoning at all. She just says that. What is the evidence? What do you mean?
Someone goes to their doctor and they're wanting hormones or any other transgender-based surgery, and a doctor wants to ask further questions before just handing over hormones. That's considered discrimination.
Not
if
true.
A doctor tries to suggest alternative therapies to help...
There is literally nothing in the bill that says this. She's just blatantly making this up.
So where do they get this interpretation, though?
They just make it up.
So they're just pulling it out of whole cloth, is what you're saying?
Literally. They are pulling this out of thin air. It says nothing about that.
How far does it go in terms of ensuring the? What are some of the biggest main points?
It doesn't really do anything. It just adds gender identity protection to our already active civil rights laws, and basically you can't discriminate against gender in public places, for federal funding, for, and adding it to the General Civil Rights Act. It's a good bill. These things, you can make this exact argument about being gay. You could actually make this exact argument about being gay. Like, oh, like gay people are just gonna fucking go into straight only spaces and just like change their fucking sexual or their sexual preference. Like, you could literally make this exact argument. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
Help a
I
child.
really hoped like that we were like past that like whole like rapey part, like, or transgender people are just gonna come out like and rape your kids, but like, and then we kind of moved on to like the more euphemistic, like, oh, I'm just concerned about women's sports, you know, like that's what that's what I really care about. But like, it still seems like we're not even
at the craziest part yet.
Identify as their birth sex, it will be illegal. And if a doctor refuses to perform an abortion, that would be considered pregnancy discrimination. And this is...
Yeah, okay, that's already been established. You can't just, if you're a doctor, you can't just say, oh, I'm not going to perform an abortion on you because you're transgender. That is against discrimination law. Like, what? What's the problem with that? Jesus Christ.
It's very disturbing, so listen closely. The Equality Act sponsors gave no answer when they were asked, what are doctors required to do if a non-binary person wants an abortion? Are the doctors now required by law to do an operation on someone who isn't even pregnant or else face legal consequences?
Okay, wait, so how would that even work? Like, how
did that make sense?
That is the most mind-blowing, insane thing I've ever heard in my life. If you didn't catch that, she just said, would a doctor get in trouble for being forced to perform an abortion on a non-pregnant person? Now, in what world a non-binary person goes up to a doctor and demands they abort a non-existent baby? I don't understand what world these people are living in. Like, they can't possibly believe this. Can you imagine a court case where a non-binary person sues a doctor because
this would never?
What on earth are they talking about?
Like,
how is that scary?
How can you like abort?
This
like,
isn't
that just
real.
is literally an impossible situation. Like, if someone's non-binary and they're pregnant, like, and they're
no,
if they're because you could be pregnant if you're like biologically a girl.
They don't. I don't think they believe non-binary people are human. They think they're like crazy people who just like want abortions, like even though they're not pregnant.
Like, how can, you can't even abort. Like, how is someone going to be mad at you for aborting? Like, not aborting something that doesn't exist.
We have to listen to this again. Hold on.
Doctors now required by law to do an operation on someone who isn't even pregnant or else face legal consequences.
Okay, there's nothing in this bill, nothing in reality that will say that if a non-binary person goes to a doctor and they aren't pregnant and then they want an like, there's so many different steps. Why would a person who isn't pregnant want an abortion? There's no way a jury would ever be like, oh yeah, we're going to send this person to jail because they discriminate against somebody by not performing an abortion on someone who isn't pregnant.
Yeah, like, that is like anybody with like 2 cents like in their head like could make that mistake. Also, but, like, it's really kind of insane. Like, this is a bill like it is so like benign in nature. And the fact that they're just really like normally there's like some sort of interpretation like the GOP will go to about this kind of stuff.
This
like,
is the same shit people were saying about the Civil Rights
Yeah,
Act,
exactly. Like they're just like the desperation at hand is so transparent and like so completely obvious.
They'll grab onto anything to try to discriminate against. Well, now it's trans people, but before it was black people. I mean, just anything really. Crazy.
Yeah, it's really the only culture war battlefront like they have left at this point.
Yeah.
Other than immigration.
It appears so.
This is freaking me out.
Of course, everyone, including gay, lesbian, trans,
those
bisexual
memes
people,
my
should be treated equally without
Oh, see, this is what they're talking about. Here. We shouldn't make any laws saying that that's true. No. I mean, they should, but no laws. Of course,
that is a legitimate goal. However,
but
it should not be pursued at the expense of other individuals. This act is fully and completely at the expense of women, parental rights, and people struggling with
parental rights. What parental rights? She didn't even mention parental rights once. She's making this up.
Gender dysphoria who need treatment, not a sex change.
Okay, yeah, once again, this is like the same shit they were saying about gay people. It's a disease. You have to cure it, bro. You have to cure the transgenderism. Like, holy shit. Actually insane. And we're not even done.
To shower in
I feel like this 6-minute video has been extended into 20.
That is a legitimate goal. However,
Yeah,
it
because
should
there's so much
not be
crazy shit in
pursued
it.
at the expense of other
Break it down,
individuals.
baby.
This act is fully and completely at the expense of women, parental rights, and people struggling with gender dysphoria who need treatment, not a sex change. We know that people just read headlines on social media. They see the Equality Act protects LGBT people from discrimination and think, wow, yes, let's get this done. Only bigots would be opposed. And they
Yes.
have no
That's
idea
true.
what is even truly in this bill.
She
because
accidentally
people
hit
like
the nail
trans
on the
people
head
like
right
are
there.
disease, and like you have to like you need to treat them like trans people like they're just a disease, and like you got to
Only
fix them. You
trans-
just got to put them up in the shop, do a little surgery,
Only-
take a little medicine, and you're good. Like that's how it works. Sure. So,
Only bigots are opposed. Yes, that is true. Only bigots are opposed to this because if you actually fucking pay attention and read the goddamn bill, you wouldn't be opposed unless you're literally transphobic.
Conservatives are dismissed and made fun of when we try to say that Biden supports policies that would allow a middle school girl to be required to shower in front of a middle school boy. Read the Equality
Okay,
Act.
that's literally not true.
What? Why would you need to? You can just not take a shower.
What? Okay, no, because they only think about it from one perspective. Okay, what would they rather have? Like a trans kid shower in front of like all guys? Like,
And by the
can
way,
you
like,
imagine how horrible it
by
is
the
for
way, I
other
doubt
person?
people are showering, especially in middle
Yeah.
school.
Nobody
like,
showers
Yeah,
at school.
I mean, that's not even.
Oh my god!
That's-
If I were
in
to
high
like
school,
shower,
maybe, not in
especially
middle
like in a
school.
group shower, like you're acting like
Nah,
these teachers
fuck
are like,
those.
look at that trans boy naked, stare at him. You must stare
mean,
at him, or you're racist and you're in trouble.
People
Like,
literally just
like,
like
what?
they're no one like little like pervy little middle schoolers aren't just like I'm a girl, like I'm gonna go in the women's bathroom. Like teachers stop that because they know it's not serious. Like they act like oh my god, like if that little kid was denied going to the bathroom, like the school gets sued for $1 trillion and everyone would go to jail. Like no,
Yeah, like it's such a
Also,
clear,
it's
it's
not
such
how
a
it
clear
works.
image, but it's like
Like,
an image
if
that's
you
so
were-
ridiculous.
If you were trans, you would go to the school like administration and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm trans. I'm gonna start using the opposite bathroom. Just letting you know."
yeah.
Like that's what they did at my camp. Like there's a kid who was on boys' side.
Yeah.
Over the school year, they transitioned, and then they had to send an email out to everybody going, like, this person is trans. They're gonna move to the other side.
Oh my god, and the
that
world
was
did
it.
not collapse.
Yeah, and everyone's like, okay, word.
Nobody was
Because
raped.
what's the big deal?
Oh my god!
Crazy. It's
Crazy.
like it's almost like nobody cares, and trans people are just regular people, and it's not like their entire lives are everyone's business. And it's almost like providing them like basic human rights is not going to destroy womanhood or whatever the hell these people are talking about. Crazy.
That is exactly what it means.
Pandora's box.
There is absolutely no denying it. The left, which used to tout itself as being the #1 champion of women, has become our greatest enemy. Feminism is about to see a resurgence, and the right will lead the way. Hit the heart for me.
Yeah,
I mean,
TERFs.
she literally cannot say it she could not say it in any clearer terms. She basically just said trans women are not women. Because this bill
Yeah,
is
like
fighting
that's a
for trans
mainstream.
rights.
That's
So if
a
you're
mainstream
saying-
talking point, and that's probably going to be like in lieu of like Dr. Seuss and like Mr. Potato Head for like economic policy or any kind of policy whatsoever. This is probably going to take center stage. All right, that is all the time we have for today. We will see you this Thursday. It's Newsflash.